Uh-oh. It's another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Now I'm already worried. He starts with uh-oh. Oh, no.
Episode number 287. 287 episodes after this recording. The name of today's episode is Competition is for Losers. How to easily stop competing using creative financing deals. Here's the description.
Okay.
What's that?
I said, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. The description is if you actually approached creative real estate transactions with the attitude of the deals are all about giving and not taking from the sellers, things would drastically shift in your ability to knock out all of the competition and get away with more deals. Truth is, your ability to succeed is absolutely based on the quality of the people in your life. Ooh, that must have fighting words, Peter. Which tells me freedom then is measured by your ability to connect and develop relationships with the correct people to do real estate transactions with.
Oh, yeah. Bill, when you're finished, we should talk about our relationship.
I don't think anybody wants to hear
that. Well, they might be curious.
Yeah. Once you get done working with us in this one podcast, you should walk away knowing how to generate high profit deals before anyone knows about the opportunity even or ever existed. How many times have we bought houses, Peter, and we tell the next door neighbors, oh, we bought the house, and we're like, oh, we didn't even know it was for sale. I wish I knew. I would have bought it.
Yeah. And then they also say, oh, thank God somebody got it.
Yeah.
Right?
We're going to fix it up.
Thank you. They're not happy with the house or the neighbor.
Plus, you're going to figure out how to avoid the deal time vampires that are just sucking you dry, only wanting what's in it for them, not giving two shits about you or your behavior or your buyer. Learn how to make the pie bigger for everyone involved. And while making bigger profits and more deals and having the reputation, my notes here, have my reputation of being super generous and completely committed to being a buyer that gets results. I'm sorry that I kind of stumbled on that. My text is like blowing up in the background and it kept distracting me. So
who's bothering you?
I don't know. One of my
it's Thursday morning. It's podcast morning. Leave Bill alone.
One of my coaching clients. Anyways, so that's the description. So hopefully I have you excited because I'm really excited. I've been looking for this podcast, forward to this podcast for some time. In any event, if you go in the chat, I'm sorry, I got to get my shit together here. If you go into the description of wherever you're looking for this podcast, watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, you put a link in there where you can download some documents.
Oh, you got something good? Got something good?
I don't know, maybe. You'll have to go check it out. Also, we record this podcast live on Facebook, or we stream it live on Facebook and YouTube when we are actually recording it. So you can go to either one of those channels at about 9:30 on a Thursday morning, Eastern Standard Time. And you can join us if you like. We have a place. If you put a comment or a something in Facebook, the section where you can actually talk to us, those show up on my screen. So if you have any questions about what we're talking about, you can be part of the podcast if you so desire. Also, make sure you subscribe to our channel wherever you're listening to us or watching us, and also make sure you leave us a review because we like to see those. Those are our report card. We like report cards. All right. Here we go. Okay, Pete, let's jump right in. I have had this podcast pent up in me for weeks now and can't wait to let it all out. Uh-oh.
Yeah, the last 3 podcasts, so wait till the 4th one.
Yeah.
Here it is, folks, the 4th one.
So I'll start with one of my core beliefs. If you're useful and continue being generous, the world will be very good to you. Mm-hmm. If you're useful and continue being generous, the world will be very useful, be very good to you. So there's a trick to this, Peter.
Yeah.
There is a very, very difficult trick because this sentence sounds very like la-di-da and very nice, right? And it's like, yeah, I agree with that. If you're useful and continue being generous, the world will be very good to you. Mm-hmm. This, and I'm going to get into this in a few minutes. This is not your perception of being useful at all. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, we're going through that one of our VAs. They think they're doing all these things for us, right? And it's like, why are they doing that? We don't want that. Mm-hmm. They think they're being useful, but indeed, what the ones that are paying them, you and I, it's not that way.
Yeah.
So when I say if you're useful, it is useful to the person that is receiving the usefulness. What do they think? Mm-hmm. Like at the church, we have a guy that's an older guy, and he tells us all the time about how he works so hard, all the hours he puts in.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. This is very, 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 very important to me. May not be to you, and AKA may not be useful to you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But here's my opinion. This gentleman that I'm talking about worked for a company for 40-something years. Mm-hmm. His product was his hours. He exchanged his hours for money. Mm. See, here's what happens. What's the difference between an entrepreneur and a non-entrepreneur? There's only one difference. Mm-hmm. Only one difference. And the difference between an entrepreneur and a non-entrepreneur is that an entrepreneur measures everything in results.
Yeah.
And a non-entrepreneur has other measuring devices. Now, I have one more podcast pent up into me next week, and we're going to talk about that because I figured something out that is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best things under God's blue heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has exactly to do with what I'm talking about. What are your desires? What are your goals? How do you look at them? How do you measure them? How do you perceive them? All of that. And it sounds boring, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to be even better than this podcast. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's important stuff. Man.
If you're useful and continue being generous, the world will be very good to you. But generous to who? Is it your standard of generous, or is it their standard of generous? Useful to you, who? You think you're useful, or do they think you're useful?
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with people who remind you more of the future than the past, you will soon notice you'll be happier.
Oh, wait a minute. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Like, did you say remind people of the future or just focus them on the future?
If you surround yourself with people who remind you more of the future, should be your future, than the past, you will soon notice that you'll be happier.
Yeah. Well, I noticed talking to people, some people just talk about whatever little diddly things are happening right now. Some are stuck in the past, all these things that happened. They might be, when I was young it was great, or when I was young it sucked. But like, who cares? Now is now. You can't change now. You only change now by doing something now for the future. So do something for the future. Hey, what do you want to do tomorrow? Why? Because that's coming. Like, let's figure it out. What do you want to do? Let's get something going. So when tomorrow comes, you're happy about it.
Let me give you my perception of what you're 100% correct, by the way. Yeah. But I have a little different idea of this. Mm-hmm. I decide I want real estate to be my income.
Yeah.
That's my future.
Yeah.
I hang around with people that will remind me of that future.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of my family that tells me that's bullshit, you can't do that. That's a scam. Carlton Sheets on TV in the middle of the night, that's a scam. Don't give him $330. Ron LeGrand charges $5,000 for a seminar. Don't give him $5,000. What are you, nuts?
Yeah.
So what you want to do is you want to hang around. That's the reason why people are in my coaching group. It's
Sure.
because every week I remind them of their future. And I'm there, which I'm going to plug next week, which is episode number 288. I'm going to plug why people don't get what they want. Okay, now I want to be very clear here. This is a series of like four episodes, and the reason why is it is January 2022. It's in my head. This is all about resolutions and goal setting and losing 50 pounds.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Yeah, this is my rendition of what I go through in this time of year. Okay.
Right, but that's also filtered through the eyes of all us humanoids who just survived 20 and 21. Oh, go look it up in the history books, folks. Bill, if they're listening to this like 20 years from now, go look up the 2020 and 2021 and then see what happened. And here we are.
He's talking about the years 2020, 2021.
That's right. We're pulling out of that.
If you surround yourself with people who remind you more of the future than the past, you'll soon notice you'll be a lot happier. But I'm kind of jumping way ahead of myself right now, Peter. What I would like to talk about now is approaching relationships is almost the exact opposite. My take on approaching relationships is exactly opposite and typical of what society teaches us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and once you understand this approach and strategic higher level of dealing with people, you'll be able to connect with basically anyone. And I don't care what anybody says, and I've decided in my life that I'm not going to follow the science. I'm not going to follow the statistics. I'm going to do what I know works. Because the truth is, you and I have pulled our hair out with numbers. And the thing that irks the living crap out of me personally is when people come into the real estate business, they think they need one thing and it's completely opposite of what they really need. Unfortunately, that thing that they think they need is what they spend money on. And then they get pissy about it doesn't work. Well, it's because it's not what they need. Now hear me loud and clear. If you plan on using pretty houses as an income or to increase your income, the business has nothing to do with real estate. It has everything to do with relationships. And by the way, if you plan on firing your boss and you plan on living a freedom of a life or living a free life or having freedom, that's what I should say. The only way you could do that is to find a way to be able to pay your bills monthly and work the least amount of hours.
Right.
It's the only way you could do it.
Yeah.
There is no other way. I didn't say you don't have to work. If you want to do that, go on Social Security or go on the dole, go on whatever state aid or whatever. That's not what I want to do. I want to work I want to get exchange for what I do.
Yeah.
So the only way you could do that, and I was talking about this last night in the free meetup, is you got to create the golden goose, as Ron LeGrand says. Because the golden goose lays golden eggs. And what's a golden goose? A golden goose is money now, money monthly, money later. You get that in any one of your transactions, which, by the way, that means you're buying subject to, because I did this on a coaching call the other night. My two favorite deals are subject to, where I take over the mortgages and then I sell on a lease option, or I actually buy on a lease option or a land contract and I sell on a lease option. Why is that? Because I get money now, money monthly, money later, And after a while, I get enough cash flow from my rents. And lately, I have figured out, or we have figured out, how to double our cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
So many people struggle, including me, for almost 20 years, 19 years. I struggled with this, like trying to get more than $300 or $400 a month in cash flow. Lately, our deals are $800, $900 a month, $1,000 a month, because we figured out a way to double our cash flow.
Bill, you know what's crazy about that? Folks, this is on single family homes.
Yeah.
The word on the street, from the gurus is if you have a multifamily and you can get $600 a month cash flow, you're doing pretty good. Like a 3-family, 5-family, 6-family, $600, you're doing pretty good on multiple. And you're saying, because I know what you did on your cash flow.
Yeah.
It's on single. I mean, you had a house a couple of years ago that I helped you work on, $1,000 a month on that one.
Yeah.
But that you did a really good deal. But on the just usual ones, you have an extra added component that adds more to it. I
just bought a house that I thought was worth $200,000 in a normal market. Because it's an inflated market, it was worth $230,000. So I paid $200,000 for it.
Yeah. I
sold it for $230,000.
Hmm.
And it's not because of anything special. It's not like and because of this thing that I'm not going to tell you about. You want to learn about it, go do a one-on-one consultation with me. Go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/free consult, and we'll talk about it. I'm not here to talk about that now, right? The point is this: that house brings $1,000 a month positive cash flow.
Crazy.
It's insane. All right.
But the thing is, nobody's complaining like, "Oh, you're screwing me." They have a nice deal. They got a house. They couldn't have done it otherwise. If they didn't do that, they'd be in a stinking lousy apartment someplace.
They're voluntarily paying more money.
Yeah.
Voluntarily, happily paying more money. All right. Like I said in the description, freedom, I think, is measured by your ability to contact and develop relationships with the particular people who can help you move along your main purpose. Now, we were talking about other podcasts, the book Who Not How, right? Which was written by, I have it here. We've covered this in the last several podcasts by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy, who wrote their book Who Not How, which was a fascinating book. You should go read it. And the main ingredient for working with the right who's, like who could do things for you, because the question is if you haven't listened to those other podcasts, it's like you have a goal, right? Yeah. Most people say, how can I get this goal done? Mm. Which creates more work for you, more time for you, more resources for you, more resources for you. Right?
Yep. Yeah.
It develops traffic for you. It develops more action, more things for you to do. How do I get this goal done? Mm-hmm. Instead of who can do this for me, or who can get this goal for me. Mm-hmm. Now, suppose your New Year's resolution is I want to lose weight.
Yeah.
I want to lose 50 pounds. My take on it is first of all, you don't say I want to lose 50 pounds. You think to yourself, what can I be in control of today? What can I do today?
Yeah.
Right? So what I would do if I want to lose 50 pounds is I would find someone who can show me how to do it. Like, who can give me the right diet? Who can give me the exact exercise program so I can, like, get right to it, cut right to the chase, cut all the bullshit out, right? Because if I figure out how to do it, I'm going to get distracted by going on YouTube and watching the 9,000 different YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. And how do I know this? Because my wife has been doing this.
Really?
Right? She's on every night. She's either looking at real estate or she's on some nutrition site looking at nutrition and diets and all these kinds of things.
Oh, she's helping you buy houses?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Right? So, in other words, these relationships should not be a chore. They should not have any desire to avoid contact or escape from them. So if you have a relationship with somebody, it should not be a chore. Mm. Right? And they should not have, the person you're having a relationship with should not have the desire to avoid you. or avoid contact with you,
Oh, yeah.
or escape from it. And in creative real estate, too often our sellers feel like this, not having desire to be with us or avoid contact.
Yeah.
Right? Which is the infamous ghosting. Right? So when I hear one of my coaching clients say, well, I sent him an offer, we had a really good conversation, and now I can't get him back on the phone again.
Yeah. So good conversation, whose estimation?
So let's go back to what I said earlier. If you're useful and continue being generous, the world will be very good to you. So when I hear a coaching client say it to me, well, I gave him an offer, the conversation went really good, they thought it was useful.
Uh-huh.
The seller did not feel that way.
No, he would have called you back if he did.
Right? So what happened is the relationship for the seller was a chore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They didn't have a desire to be there any longer.
Yeah.
Right? And in creative, like I said, in creative real estate, too often our sellers feel like that. Right? They want $200,000 for their house, and you're calling them up and saying, "Can I give you $1,500 a month until I pay it off?"
Mm-hmm.
Is that being useful to them?
Now, when they want, how much did you say? 200,000.
Yeah.
Now, when they're looking for that, and you say 1,500, like, nah, that's not the number.
So what they're looking for is the difference between what they owe and what they're going to get. They want that profit, and they have a reason for that money. They want to do something with it. So how do you become useful in that conversation? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, there is a way to do that. There is a way to do all of that.
Yeah.
Right? And I explained that. I just went over this last night in my monthly meetup. Every third Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do I'm supposed to be 90 minutes, but usually the last 2-hour meetup with all this deal structuring, and I show you how to do all these deals. If you go to flippinghouses4rookies.com and you go down to the bottom of the page, there's a course there. It says Creative Real Estate 101. It's all in there. You know why you don't know what I'm talking about, Mr. Listener? It's because you're a lazy son of a bitch and you didn't go do what I just told you. So I don't feel bad for you. Get off your ass and do something. Otherwise, don't feel sorry for you. Go do something. It's there. I give it away for free. How's that, Peter?
It sounded like it came from the core of your soul, Bill. But, people have done it. I've talked to them. They showed up at our meetings. They come, yeah, I bought 2 houses. Like, who are you? We don't even know who they are. They walk in. Remember we had the guy drove up from Virginia. Another guy drove from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And the Virginia guy had purchased 2 or 3 properties just listening to the podcasts.
Yep.
He didn't have any other additional help. Like most people, including me, would need more help than that. I like a little more help than that. But that's how real the stuff is, that people are doing it. Yep. But there's probably people doing it that didn't even tell us.
No, for sure. For sure. It
It
never surprises me to get that support ticket.
Yeah.
So this means that if you're not doing a good job of building relationships, right, they see us as parasites who only stick around until we've sucked whatever value we can get out of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So no wonder why the world is the way the world is because if you really think about it, the exchange level has gone way down, especially with the millennials. I mean, yeah, I'm kicking them right in the nuts right now, but the millennials want to do as little as possible for the most as possible.
Yeah.
That's just the way they were taught. No disrespect to them. We actually taught it to them because we gave them everything they wanted. My daughter just had this conversation with me the other day. We were talking about going on a family vacation.
Yeah.
And she goes on and she's like, Dad, I am so lucky. I'm like, really? Yeah, because when, even though, my ex-wife and I were divorced, we always did things. We always went on vacation. We always kept the family unit together. I did. Right? She's like, my husband, he has no idea what that's about. They didn't do that when they were a kid.
Wow.
The mother died at a young age, and the father just crashed and burned, and they never did that. They didn't have the family unit. They don't know what it's like.
Oh, man.
Right? So it's just a different world. I mean, we live in a different world, right? So what happens is exchange is down and wants and needs are high.
Yeah.
Like, where can I get the fastest thing for the least amount of effort and the least amount of time and the least amount of expense?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can do that. I mean, Walmart exists just for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's an efficient thing.
Right.
But if it sacrifices quality and value, that's where I draw the line. I just I know what you're talking about, because I had a call this morning before the podcast, because I don't have solar on my house. I'm thinking maybe I should get solar, save some money, see what it works, if it works or not. So I put a little thing on Facebook, and then of course the phone calls come in from all the companies pitching at me. So I made a couple appointments, see what they say, see what I can learn, find out the right question. But they're pitching, and then one lady said, "Hey, I got 2 appointments, I'm done." And she went for 5 minutes, and I was trying to be polite, but like, "Hey, breakfast time." But she was kind of helpful, but like that was like, now you're just talking for yourself.
Yeah.
So I know what that feels like on the other end, and it makes me think, oh my God, when I talk to people, do they feel that way about me?
Right.
No, I don't, because I don't want them to feel that way about me. No. And I think I don't do that, but what you're saying is making me think, oh boy, like really watch it.
Really so I want to tell you something that none of us, our listeners, will probably even get, but I just want to tell you this. Exactly what you're saying right now is the reason why I'm spending so much time on our scripts.
Yeah.
It's not the actual scripts. It's the intuitiveness of it. It's the blueprint. So when they answer the question, what do you do next?
Yep.
Right. And that's what keeps you tracking with their communication and their values, because you understand them and ask the exact right question next. And they know that you understand them because you asked the right exact question.
Yeah.
Right. Like, Peter, are you on a diet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. How much weight you plan on losing?
Jay, I'd like to lose 20.
20 pounds?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you needed to lose 50.
Why would you say that?
See what I mean? See what just happened?
Yeah.
If you use the wrong question or statement, it throws the whole thing off.
I went sour on that one. Like,
right?
What do you mean 50?
Yeah, exactly. Right? All right. So, so we have to build value in a relationship, which brings me to a core natural law.
Mm-hmm.
Do not become a person or try to become a person of success. Don't try to become a person of success.
Wow.
Instead, be a person of value.
Mm.
Don't try to be a person of success. Just try to provide a lot of value.
When you say that, success makes me think of me. Value makes me think of the other guy.
Exactly right. Nice, Peter.
Well, just in case somebody's thinking, like, what's that mean? I mean, sometimes I go, wait a minute, let me think about that for a second, Bill. Where's that going? But that's how that struck me.
Yeah. So I had, for a very long time, since a young age, I don't know where I got this from, but I don't always succeed with it. I don't always think about it either. But I think to myself, every conversation that I have, I'd like to think that the person that walked away from me says, I got something out of that guy.
Yeah.
Right? This is much better than asking, what's in it for me? Which is a very common question with most novice rookie real estate entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
They ask, what's in it for me? They're all about the deal structuring and like the numbers, and they're trying to convince the person this is such a great deal for them. Look how much money you're going to make.
Mm-hmm.
When the truth of the matter is if you find the right motivated seller, money is low down on the totem pole. There's other things that are valuable to them than the money.
Yep.
And when you do a lot of deals, you don't know that.
No, the problem is we're doing it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody starts like, oh, gee, I'll do real estate because I need the money or want money. It's not like, she'll think I'll do real estate to go help people, honestly. But then you learn, no, you have to consider the other person.
Right.
My father was a barber, and he had to make sure he cut people's hair the way they liked it. I'm still trying to find somebody who cut my hair the way I like it. It's not always that easy. But when you're working with somebody, you have to consider that. And it takes a while to shift from me to them.
Yeah.
Success to value.
Most people avoid the what's in it for me type of folks. Just look at the stereotype used car salesman and you'll get the picture.
Mm-hmm.
He's not selling you the car because he found out what you want to do with the car, or that it's best for you, or it's your favorite color, or that you like the heated seats. He's not. I mean, nowadays it's a little different, but in the old days it wasn't.
How'd they pick them, Bill?
They just stuffed you into a car. I can tell you right now, there's certain dealerships like right down the street from me that they do that good credit, bad credit, no credit. And I know because I had a dealership and I did this.
Yeah.
People came in and you were totally qualified on the cars by what your credit score was, how much money you had down, and how much you could pay per month. And then we told you which car you could have.
Mm-hmm.
It had nothing to do with what they wanted.
Mm.
Right?
Okay.
Which is the reason why I'm not in the business anymore. And the reason why I could talk the way I do, because I have millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of transactions of experience. 25 years I was in that business.
Yeah.
All right, now we're at the meat and potatoes portion of creative deal structuring. You know, great and vast wealth with creative and creative real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think you want to create massive wealth, and here's the thing, the title and this topic is not sexy. And people don't want to hear this part of it. They don't find this sexy at all. It's like, oh yeah, I know that. They intuitively think they know that.
Mm.
And then I'll make a statement and I'll be like, yeah, I've known that. But yet they never articulated it the way I did, and they don't make it a punchline like I did. So
or do they use it?
Or they use it, right?
I mean, to me, I don't care what anybody says. Can I use it? How do I use it? How do I remember to do it? How do I get good at it?
Right.
Even when I think I'm supposed to know, like, am I doing it the best I can? Am I really listening? So
here we go. You ready, Peter?
I'm ready.
Here's what you need to do from this podcast forward. This is the way you will make a total absolute fortune. Here is how you will create your golden gooses.
Mm-hmm.
You will never, ever be able to do it without this. Don't reach out to someone unless you have something meaningful to offer.
Will you know that in advance, or do you have to find that out when you talk to them? Or just, how does that work? I mean, how do you know?
If you called someone up and just went over the cost to sell worksheet with them and told them how much it would cost their self, was that meaningful to them?
Oh, yeah, that would be helpful.
If you just talked to somebody, two-way communicated with them and went through the transaction, because they don't know what a transaction's like because they've never done one, and you just helped them go through the transaction visually in their head so they could see how it would be, would that help them?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've talked to people that own like $500,000 of property or more, and they're thinking of selling it. And I talk to them just a little bit. And I'm no big expert, but I talk about the taxes. You know, it's like, well, if you sell that, what's going to happen to your taxes? What income bracket are you going to be in? Like, oh, shit. Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. Oh, boy. So what if there's a way to do that where you don't have to pay all that taxes? Really? How do you do that? Really? And I'm no big expert, but I've done that just recently with people. One guy had $700,000 property.
Right.
You know, and it's funny. The more you have, the more you need something like this, because the more you're going to lose.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, he's rich. He doesn't need to do this. No, he's going to lose a lot of money in taxes. If they're supposed to be smart, and sometimes they're not. They have accountant. Oh, I asked my accountant. You're right. So yeah, I see what you mean. There's several things we do normally that are helpful.
Exactly right. So Peter, I would like for you to you're always honest, but I'd like you to be honest for a second. You and I have been working on weeks because I got stuck in my craw that I want to make a grand slam offer for sale by owners. And we've been doing this drill, right? Like where we're going through the sequence and we're trying to find all the obstacles and the benefits of what we could offer.
Yeah.
Now you get it?
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Don't reach out to someone unless you have something meaningful to offer.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, you don't need to be me or Pete or anybody experienced. All you need to do is, I mean, you got enough free stuff. You can go into, you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. On the top of the page, there's a 14-day email course. On the bottom of the page, there's a creative real estate course 101. Those two free products will give you way more information than you need. If you go to the free stuff page and download and you did nothing else, you just went to the free stuff page, flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff, and downloaded the lease option explain document that's 5 pages long, and you hand wrote it 10 times, recorded it in your telephone, and listened to it 10 or 15 times, 20 times, you would know more than the average guy. You would know probably more than me, and I wrote the document. That would be enough for you to have something meaningful to offer your seller. Just the questions and answers on there that we developed over the years of hearing our sellers asking those questions is enough. Just having those paragraphs, even if you just had the 5-page document in front of you when you're on the phone, it would be worth something to your seller.
Yeah.
So don't think that you have to be me to offer something. The littlest things mean a lot. Too many people want to give quantity, not quality. They want to buzz through the phone calls, and they want to qualify their clients with quantity. And you, Peter, I want to rave about you. You're really good at the quality. You're a pain in the ass with detail. And you drive me nuts. But very, very, very good, because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be where we are with all the other rookies. Because you want the details, and you don't get stuck on them. It's just that you notice gaps if there are some. If you're doing a sequence and there's a gap, you pick up on those. So we've done a really good job of filling those gaps. So just knowing the sequence, or just having a conversation with somebody about their house, a meaningful, real conversation where you're not trying to get something for nothing or what's in it for me, you'll get a lot of information. Agreed? Yeah.
And to correct myself, we actually have enough tools and understanding. Just talking to somebody, good stuff does come out.
Yeah.
It's built into our scripts. You ask the questions, and we just know a few things you can just talk to people about. It's not horribly complicated. Sometimes you just don't think of things. You remind them, oh, I didn't think of that. Ooh, thanks for, and how does that work? Send me more information, Yeah.
So don't reach out to someone unless you have something meaningful to offer. That something needs to be real and genuine and relevant, not just a compliment or flattery. Because I had a few coaching clients that I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that because they were fakers.
Oh, no.
They weren't comfortable with themselves, and they pretended like they were happy, thinking they were fooling the other ones.
Ew.
Now, I would go on a rant for this for the next 4 hours if you let me. But I'm going to give you a classic example of this. And this, as far as I'm concerned, is a killer. This is like in our society, what I'm about to tell you is like the Titanic hitting the iceberg.
Okay, what is it?
It's sinking our society. Okay?
Yeah.
Television.
Ooh.
My mother wants to rant. Now, she's 80 years old, and she wants to rant to me about all the things she heard about on Fox News. And I get Fox News. I don't. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes I don't. I also, when I do watch the news, I also watch ABC to get their perspective. They're two opposites. Okay. I have my opinions about them. I'll keep them to myself. The point is that my mom is steadfast on what they're saying. She's making decisions in her life based on what these people are saying.
Yeah.
She's altering her life based on these people that they're saying. And I said to her, Ma, you need to knock it off. Excuse me? You don't realize what you're doing. She said, what are you talking about? I'm like, you watch that television. Do you realize what television is made up of? She goes, I'm confused. Ma, those people on TV are actors and actresses. They're fake. They're there to get your attention so they can sell you ads. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So the newscaster is an actor or an actress. They're reading a script. Somebody else wrote it for them. It's not their own origination. It's not their own feelings. It is not genuine. It is all fake. It's made up so you can stay on there watching them so they can show you some ads in 10 minutes. Because the ads are what pay for the television. The ads are what pay for Fox, and that's what pay for the news. That's what pays for all of the TV shows you watch are the ads.
Mm-hmm.
Their true intention is to get your attention by being clever.
And you know,
hang on one second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the sinking part of society.
Mm-hmm.
Our children have been raised, because TV's only been on the market for 70 years. Our children have been raised. Our children have been raised watching those TV shows, thinking that's how life really is. And it's not. Watching these TV shows with these families that have these situations and crises.
Yeah.
And they think that's how life really is. They're actors and actresses. It was made up, mocked up, and cut and edited when not done right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how life really is. It's a big, fat lie.
Yep.
And here we are with a society, a generation that we call millennials, that have either learned from a video game or learned from television that this is what life is about. And we wonder why they act the way they act. We wonder why they make the decisions they make. We wonder why there's a cancel society or cancel culture. Well, if it's not done the way they saw on TV, then they just walk away. Well, I don't want to talk to you. That's what I'm talking about right now is the opposite of what I'm talking about today. Cancel culture is they don't feel like you have value for them and what they want, so they walk away. Get away from me.
Yeah, that's what people do on the phones too, though. The sellers, they'll do the same thing. I mean, we're sending a lot of texts out, and I've never seen. There's some very, very nice people. They compliment us. No, thank you. But there's a lot of just rude people.
Right.
Just rude. Like I almost feel like saying, "Did your mother not teach you manners?" But it won't go anywhere, so I don't bother. I just click away. But just rude and arrogant. Like, do you go to church or anything? Do you do anything to be a decent human being? You split. Yeah, really.
Right.
Yeah. I wanted to say something. I want to say one thing on the news thing. Somebody can say, "Well, but Bill," because I do this. But Bill, they have congressmen and senators and political leaders and people involved in things. And they're just interviewing
actors.
No, well, hang on. In a way, they're actors, but they're actually the people who are doing the job. But still, no matter if they really are the politician, the senator, or whatever, and they're doing it, they still pick the guys who say those things. So you're not getting a blanket view of like the actual reality. You're getting the guy he chose.
Or the guy that's on the senator that's on TV is going to talk about what people want to hear so that he gets more votes and he gets voted back in.
Yeah.
It's not really what's going on. You know what, Peter? We could talk about this for hours.
Yeah.
If the United States citizens actually knew what was going on in the Senate, then why do they vote at 2:00 in the morning when we're all sleeping?
Yeah.
Why do they do that?
Yeah.
If they're doing things that we actually agree with and feel like are valuable, why are they hiding at 2:00 in the morning with voting sessions? Why do they do that?
And meetings behind closed doors.
Yeah.
I have a copy of the Constitution and the amendments. I got this little paperback. I got to show you. I picked it up somewhere. I've been reading it like, oh boy. This is a good little piece of documentation here.
Mark Levin is really good with that. Sunday nights on Fox. Mark Levin. He's really good with that.
But I have my own in my own hand so I can see it. Don't tell me what is in it. I'm reading it myself. The original from Thomas Jefferson. Holy moly.
All right. So when I ask the question, what's in it for them, I don't have to work on the relationship with my seller. Instead, it gives me a relationship that naturally just flows smooth and works.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are at the meat and potatoes, like I said, of creating vast wealth. One of the things that is laughable to me, and I've mentioned it 10,000 times on this podcast, so many people come after me and they ask me about my questions and how do I ask people and deal structuring and all that stuff. When the truth is you can go to my website, flippinghousesforrookies.com. You go to the bottom of the page. Like I said, there's a creative offer 101 course there that would take you an afternoon to watch. The videos are 15, 20 minutes apiece, and there's a half a dozen videos. If you understood those videos, you could say to somebody this, Peter, what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? And then take one of those structures, one of those 7 structures, and say, I can do this. And you would buy a house. You don't need to have all this fancy stuff.
Yeah.
It would work. The question is, are you building a relationship with these people?
Mm-hmm.
Right? All right.
Yep.
So let me catch up to myself. So you have to have true and real value. It has to be sincere. You have to really want to help somebody. It can't be fake. And if you want the relationship to continue, you must continue creating value. And the only way you can continue creating value is ask them, are you tracking with me? You okay with this? Did you understand that? What do you think? Does that make sense to you? Peter, if I were to give you $1,500 a month instead of $1,200 a month, and I pay you $200,000 instead of $180,000, but it takes me 5 years to do that, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Jim Camp said in his book, No, you need to help your seller create a vision of how to deal with someone or how the deal will go. Right? When creating this vision, it should be packed with value, with what's in it for them. When you do this, you will soon start to notice you will work less and make more money. And you'll earn way bigger profits while you're actually loafing with time off and freedom. Right? If you just had a real conversation with someone, and you know this because you do this all the time, what's his name? Kaz. What would have to happen for us to buy your house today? Right? And he just told us.
Yeah, we were talking to him yesterday, and I've been going over a few things, and I found something he agreed to. And I talked a little bit like, what if he did this and that? And I said, wait a minute. He actually said he would do this. Okay, let's do that then. Right. Whatever he said, I would do that. Okay, we'll do that. Right. It's like, you want the hamburger, you want the hot dog, you want the coleslaw. No, I said I want the grilled cheese. You want the French fries? No, I want the grilled cheese. Exactly. How about the lobster roll? I want the grilled cheese, please.
Right. Exactly.
I was at a restaurant with a poor wife who's a very fussy eater. I'll have a hamburger, but can you not put that gargans? They had hamburgers with all this crap on them for her, Can I have it just plain? Oh, no, we don't do that here. I just want the hamburger. Don't put the extra stuff on. Save it. No, we don't do that here. The chef won't do it. Excuse me?
Yeah, well, we don't eat here.
Yeah. Well, we were 50 miles away, so we ate and then we left. I think she's at the shore. She got herself a hot dog because they wouldn't do it. Anyways, not going back there again. I mean, how hard is that? And I call that, you arrogant idiot.
Yep. All right. So, Peter, you know this, but maybe my podcast listeners don't. I've been a multimillionaire a couple of times, and I've lost it a couple of times. Okay. So I learned this a long time ago. And it may not be relevant to you, the listener, right now, but you should definitely hear me loud and clear, because if you take this viewpoint when you're talking to sellers and talking to people and dealing with people, it should shift you a lot. I learned a long time ago, be nice to people on your way up to success, because you'll meet them on the way down when you crash. And if you weren't nice to them on your way up to success, it's their turn to get even.
Yep.
On your way down. Many people desire to be liked and to have status. But you can't rest on your laurels and run on those fumes of your former success. If you stop being useful, or concerned for others.
Yeah.
Also, a great way to learn how to be valuable is to volunteer. Here, you'll have to learn how to serve other people's goals, even if there's no pay. I mean, you all know that I volunteered at a church, and I was an executive. And one thing that I had to learn, the hardest rule that I had to learn, that people that have not worked there don't know, is that people are volunteering. They're giving you their willingness to come there and help. If you don't do what they want, or it's not even what they want, but if you don't have agreement, or if things don't go quite the way they want, guess what they stop doing?
Showing up and helping.
There you go.
Duh.
So it has to keep you in a line and keep you in tune with the recipient. So if you volunteer, you start learning these things. When you focus on what others want and being grateful, it goes a long way. So I just want to say, if you think that you've gotten a lot out of this podcast, I want to tip my hat to you. But I'm gonna pick up the pace a little bit here, and I'm gonna end off this podcast with a boom. Because I haven't really talked about what I want to talk about yet.
You're funny.
Why? That's how I feel.
I believe you, but I thought, oh, he's ending the podcast right at the end. And then, but wait, here's what I really think. Okay. Tell us, Bill, what do you really feel?
If you are genuinely and consistently grateful, people will want to help you more. They'll want to work with you and be around you. People have an innate need to be appreciated. You will change by doing this. Being grateful. Having gratitude. You will notice you are kinder, humbler, and a happy person if you're just grateful. Because gratitude attracts and creates abundance.
Yep.
I'm going to get into this in the next podcast, like big time.
Truly.
But to end off for today, if you truly want your potential, possibilities, your wishes, desires, hopes, belief, faith, and any type of action to start moving towards success, start with gratitude every day.
Yeah.
Work your gratitude muscles and open your heart, mind, and faith to your possibilities. Be grateful, and I'm going to go over this so much in the next podcast. Be grateful of what you've done and stop trying to figure out what you haven't done. I want to lose 50 pounds. I only lost 5. Be grateful of the 5 being gone. I spoke to a suspect and they were mean. Be grateful that you spoke to them because you just learned something.
At least you spoke to some, but you're getting someplace.
Gratitude takes our focus off our don't haves. Gratitude takes our focus off our don't haves and gets us excited about what we do have. and ever so gently nudging us into the world of abundance thinking. Once we start reciting there, we start naturally resonating with possibilities, wishes, desires, hopes, and a chain reaction. An abundance evolution starts in us, which grows into beliefs, faith, and action. So, heed the information in today's podcast and start your journey to action and success with gratitude. Now, Peter, I would like you to actually believe that I wrote those words. I would actually like to think that I'm not profound of a thinker, but I can't take credit for it. I want to thank Mr. Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich under the gratitude section of his book.
Makes sense.
For your words. These words were his.
Yeah.
I live them. I believe them. I wholeheartedly jump over the ramparts to get them. But those are powerful words. You know how I know that? That book was written over 100 years ago, and it's still circulating in society.
Yep.
The next podcast, I will cover the 6 steps most people usually follow when trying to attain their desires, and how it often goes off the rails. So make sure you listen.
6, huh? I like when you number things. So then I know what I'm doing. I can keep track.
And keep track?
Oh yeah, no, really. It's. Let's talk about blah blah. You just talk and talk and talk. It's hard to pinpoint details and hang on to them. But if you can put it into 6 bullet points and expound upon it, then it's easier to. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 fingers. I can keep track.
Oh, okay.
I got 6 fingers.
All right. So no more 14 checklists, huh? 14-point checklist.
No, what's that?
I don't know. I'm just saying, no 14 because you only got 10. You have 10 toes, and
I can make it up to 20 if I'm careful.
Okay, 20 if you use your toes.
That's right.
All right, bad humor. All right, so don't forget to go to wherever you're watching us and subscribe. Make sure you leave us a comment or a review. We really love those. Make sure you go into the description of wherever you're watching us or listening to us. I put some documents in there that you can download. I have not done that before, but I did that today. So go ahead and go click on that link and you can get the documents. Also, you should make sure that if you want to give us a comment or be part of the podcast, you check us out at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on Thursday mornings, and you can find us either on YouTube or Facebook. Okay, so that's it for podcast number 287. We will talk to you at podcast number 288. Thanks for being us. Thanks for all the support, and over and out.